Getting your bearings in Once Human can be a bit tricky early on. Just because there's so much going on, it's a new game, and there's not a lot of information out there as of yet on how to really get a lot of the good weapons or gear early on. While this guide is not going to cover in depth how to get the best weapons, I do have other guides coming that will go in depth on weapon crates as well as gear crates that you can get early on in the game to give yourself a leg up. For now, we're just going to cover the beginner's tips and tricks to Once Human and cover some things that I think are not very well explained early on in the game, so that you can get a leg up in Once Human. The tutorial is helpful for getting out in the world and understanding the basic mechanics of the game, but the real game starts once you get sucked through a magic door into another world. Take your time and do the tutorial, but don't worry about spending too much time in that mini world, as it really doesn't showcase the harsh reality of what awaits you after you finish. While you are in the tutorial setting, get a feel for the controls. Knock down a few trees, crack a bunch of ores, and collect water. Use these items at a crafting bench to get a sense of the different crafting mechanics and familiarize yourself on how to obtain different materials so that when you do get to the real world area, you are ready to take on whatever may come your way and collect plenty of materials once you arrive. This ties into what I was saying before. Gather literally everything you can once you make it out of the tutorial so that you can craft most of the items immediately. Follow the Eve of Evolution questline to get you started so that you get a grasp on fighting enemies, finding chests and items, as well as collecting blueprints to be able to craft. Ore, wood, and gravel or stone are super important to stockpile later on. Just get as much as you can without weighing yourself down in the beginning so that you don't have to worry about it as much as you make progress. As for food, kill as many deer or animals that you see, and when you do unlock the stove, you'll be ready to get cooking. Food and water are crucial here, which we'll get into in a second, but gather literally anything around you just when starting out so that you can scrap it later on down the line for useful materials. There are armor and weapon crates scattered all over the map. We actually have a guide coming on where to find early chests to get you going, but just keep an eye out early on to make sure that you don't miss any. This is the best way to gather both supplies and some very helpful weapons that are very powerful early on to give yourself a major head start. The weapons are very important here, as the enemies are all over the place. The last thing you want is to run into a massively powerful zombie that chomps your face off in just a few hits. So getting great weapons early on is important if you want to wreck everything that you come across. Water is not hard to come by so far. Luckily, picking up a bit of dirty water from a pond or a lake is quite easy, and bringing it back to a basic crafting bench allows you to boil it into safe water to drink. But be very mindful of what you are consuming. Read the effects prior to consumption unless you want to end up sick or worse. You will need more than just water to get the water boiled though, so make sure to gather everything that you see, like we mentioned before. Also, food is crucial as well. You can't survive if you're dying of starvation, so be sure to kill as many animals as you can and collect supply chests in order to bag some ingredients to use later on when you unlock the stove. We will also be doing a guide on the mimetics, which allow you to open up new crafting stations and more, so stay tuned for that as well, as it will help you cook more food and more in order to get you a good stockpile going early on. Your base is, well, your base of operations. And if you don't have any walls, you are not super safe and you're susceptible to attacks from random things lurking around the water and tree lines. Make sure to build a safe haven to rest at and keep building onto it as you make progress. Don't worry about doing everything the second that you get into the game. Your base should be well fortified, but also very spacious because there are a lot of tables to craft and things that you're going to need later on down the line. So make sure to give yourself a lot of space in order to get those tables down and craft new blueprints. That's going to do it for this quick beginner's tips and tricks guide for Once Human. As always, if you like the video, then like the video. And if you like my content in general, then please subscribe to my channel because it means the absolute world to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!